Unbelievably, this is our 58th independent review of new condo construction in Miami. We have been independently reviewing buildings for the last, it feels like, decade across the Miami market. And we continue this series with Ponce Park. I'm standing here with Lauren, who's the sales director of the project, and we're going to very quickly go through the project in the kind of the overview details. We're not going to get too granular, because if you want to kind of get the presentation, give us a call, come on in. What I want to do with this video, what I want to achieve, which we do with all our videos, is we give you a very quick overview. We'll talk about our favorite 3 lines in the project. Then we'll get into how it compares to the rest of the market, so how it stacks up dollar per square foot to the other buildings available, both resale and new construction. And then we finish off by really tuning in on who we believe this is the right product for. Who buys Ponce Park? All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. So Lauren, tell us a little bit about the project.
Some of the special things about this project, it's a 58 residence project with 11-foot high ceilings, 12-foot high ceilings on the penthouses. This is boutique luxury at its finest. It's one of the most differentiated products that we've seen in the marketplace, from its neoclassical architecture, beautiful Roman travertine stone. It is really for a buyer who loves classic architecture, and it's going to age beautifully over time. And it's really, we've had a phenomenal response. We have 20,000 square feet of commercial space on the first floor, and all of the luxury amenities that clients are looking for, from private terraces that are 300 square feet in size with fully appointed kitchens, private elevators, and it's loaded with amenities.
It's a very beautifully, classically, quintessential Coral Gables building. I think we can say that. Even down to the steeple was inspired from the famous Biltmore Hotel. So there's definitely a continued nod and respect to the Coral Gables history and the architecture. It sits first and foremost in a location, just so you're aware, and again, we're not trying to speak all things to all people, this building sits on the mouth entrance into Coral Gables. As you drive into Coral Gables down Ponce de Leon, you come to the new plaza, shops and restaurants, which is kind of on your right side if you're coming down from US 1 and from the east. And then obviously your building's on the left. This is probably the most significant project for the west side of Coral Gables that I think I've ever seen. Certainly the most grand, so certainly the most ambitious. Up to this point, almost all the projects that we've seen in Coral Gables have been more boutique or more middle of the road marketed. This feels like you're definitely going for the luxury buyer with this product.
You know, when the Alan Morris, who's the developer, set out to develop this project, they looked at the white space in the marketplace that existed for that high-end luxury condo buyer, and there was really nothing in Coral Gables. And that's where the impetus for that project really came from, designing into something for that buyer with them specifically in mind. This really represents the highest level of construction and design that Coral Gables has ever seen in the condo asset class, which is why it's so special.
And let's put some perspective for those who don't know out there, because again, there's so many developers, so many builders, so many architects, and sometimes our brains get jumbled with all these different people who are doing these different projects. Like, who is this family, and why should we care? What's their background?
They are one of Miami's finest unsung heroes of development in the area. They have been around for 67 years, 3 generations. The son is currently the president, Spencer Morris. His father's the chairman and CEO. And when we think about developers and what makes someone willing to risk a substantial amount of money in a project like this, they have never defaulted on a financial obligation in the history of the company. They have deep, deep roots here in South Miami. They have huge market penetration in the Atlanta metro area. And as Mr. Morris himself said, this is his gift to Coral Gables. This is very much a legacy project for them. This marks their 93rd development in their portfolio, and I think there's no one better to make this masterpiece come to life. This is poised to be the next iconic landmark of the Gables, which is why I'm so happy to be part of the project.
So with a project like this, and I'm thinking about the competition out there in the market, who do you see as your competition for a project like this? Like the type of product and maybe some of the other projects out there who you think you're competing against?
You know, one of the best compliments that we got with this project was, I think we've been visited by every developer who has an active development in the Coral Gables area. And one of the best things that I think is a celebrated moment for us all is there is no direct competition. We all occupy unique spaces in the marketplace. So when we look at price per square foot of this project, there's nothing like it because we've never built anything. So this is occupied.
What are you coming in dollar per square foot so we can kind of put this in? Then we'll get into the numbers later on. So you want to stay tuned to the end. You don't want to go away and miss this because the real value is understanding how this stacks up in the grand scheme of competitive condos out there across the Gables and the Grove markets.
Yeah. So based on the inventory that we've released right now, we're coming in at a blended $1,575 a square foot.
Okay, $1,575 a square foot. I just give you an idea. I mean, I just came from Miami Beach and we were looking at product that was somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a square foot. So when you come over to the Gables, it seems like an absolute bargain. Interestingly enough, as we go through and we look at a project like this, one of the things that strikes me, and again, we're talking about who it's for. Let's say you're not from Miami. If you're watching this and you're from Miami, you probably understand Coral Gables very well. If you're not, let's say you're coming from Chicago or New York. There are certain neighborhoods that we absolutely see this kind of like runs parallel. And we had a conversation about the Upper East Side, this kind of like classic historical neighborhoods that people have respected for a very long time. Coral Gables is an interesting animal because unlike other markets, like for example Coconut Grove, which is a very different neighborhood, although it's right next to each other, the style in Coral Gables, you can only build a certain type of home. You cannot do an ultra modern home in certain parts of the Gables. You'll see a lot of historic homes. You'll see the modern Mediterraneans. You'll see something with a little bit more of a classical look to it. Once you cross over US 1 and you go into parts of the Grove, you'll see a lot more of those modern, contemporary, LA-style looking homes. You won't see those in the Gables. So when I look at the Coral Gables architecture for now for a condo, it's running true to the house equivalent. Very classical style. It's not for those, in my mind, the way I look at it, for the person who wants a super, super modern product. It's got to be more, the running gear is modern, but it's more the person that buys the classic car than, you know, the brand new 2025 Silhouette. I would stay and talk about some of the floor plans here, but you know what? What I want to do is I actually want to show you, and we're actually going to migrate now into what you've beautifully created as a living room kitchen space. And we're going to bring in George Salazar, our territory manager, and he is going to work with me, and we're going to look at our 3 favorite floor plans of this project. We're going to take a look at some of the finishes, and then we're going to get into the numbers of the market as a whole. So before we bring George through, because he's in the background drinking a Coke, enjoying himself, we're going to cover the 3 things that we think that we really love about this project, and we're going to get into some of those elements. First of all, the number of units. This is again a pretty boutique project. I don't think Coral Gables wants huge high density. I don't think it's for that market. It's the home seller who wants to maybe side grade into a condo, but moving from a home into a 300-unit building seems like a hard ask. I think something a little bit more boutique, a little bit more private is going to work much better. So first in 58 units. Number 2, this is a full-service building. I mean, we love this concierge full-service building. I think that's really key about this. It's a very high level of service. And again, why do you move from a home to a condo? I think the convenience, yeah? I mean, you don't have to worry about looking after your yard anymore, your pool anymore. You come home, everything's being looked for you. You don't need an army of housekeepers and maids and gardeners. And I can talk from experience that owning a home is lovely, but it's a lot of work. And the third thing we love about this, which I think is a phenomenon that is new to Coral Gables for this location, because there are other projects that we've seen, this seems to be really, really well located. The walkability on this is phenomenal. The fact that you can be amazing restaurants within, 20 feet from the front door.
Right.
Where can you go out? Like going out in this area, where do people go out?
Well, so you have Miracle Mile, 0.3 miles away, so that's walkable. We have a beautiful park that's being restored as part of this project. That's going to be a new music venue and cultural venue for the location, which is going to be huge. Across the street, you have Mika, which is a very, very amazing restaurant that's quite popular. Ceviche, you have Sanguich, you have a new Italian market that's opening right across the street. And then as you go up Ponce, we're seeing developer dollars start to flow even from Miracle Mile down Ponce de Leon and all the side streets. So you can't even walk 50 steps without passing multiple coffee shops, exercise boutiques. So really, if you don't want to use a car today, this is a great place to just walk out your door and go experience it.
If you want walkability and you love the Coral Gables lifestyle, this could be the project for you. Okay, so now that we've established, we know where we are, we know what you're going to get, now let's dive into the units. And I'm going to swap you out for a far less attractive member of my team to come through and talk us through the units. So now I've replaced Lauren with George. George is a Coral Gables local. He's our expert in the market. Knows probably more about Coral Gables than anyone else on the team because you were born here.
Yes.
And we're going to go through these floor plans now. And George, take us through your top three. Now, there's a lot of choices here on the table. What are we going to pay attention to?
We've done all the hard work for you, and we've looked at all the floor plans. This actually was kind of tough for us because there were so many good floor plans. In fact, that's probably what we love about this place is its floor plans. It's space, and of course, its finishes. So looking into all the units at Ponce Park, I would say that these three are favorite units here.
Okay, let's go through the units.
Yeah.
These are our favorite three. Let's start at the cheapest, go to the most expensive. So cheapest, middle range, most expensive. Start with, I guess, the first unit we're going to talk about, which is one hell of a 2-bedroom plus den, unit 405.
2,000 square feet.
What do you like about this unit? Because I can see what I like about it, but tell me, what are you like? What's really grabbing you here?
I mean, you have a private elevator, a really nice formal entrance, a foyer. You have a huge kitchen and a huge living area that connects to a 300 square foot terrace overlooking Ponce and the southeast, which is definitely the view, the preferred view in this building.
So up on the 4th floor, you're getting a view out over Ponce.
Over Ponce. Yeah.
Looking out towards, I guess you'll see the
You see a lot of
area.
greenery. You see a lot of greenery. You'll if you're a little bit higher, from this same line, you could perhaps see Coconut Grove.
But the views, it's a 2-bedroom plus there's a den.
Yes, 2 plus that.
And it's really generous. Now, as I look at this and I'm looking here at this setup, it's striking me there's a proper closet, nice sized master bedroom, second bedroom's really generous, nice amount of glass off the front here, so you've got nice views. I mean, we're talking, 2,000 square feet for just over $3 million?
And 2,300 total. So yeah, I mean, it's a big unit for a 2-bedroom, where most of the 2-bedrooms in this market, you're going to find they're going to be 1,200, 1,300 square feet.
Yep.
This is a much larger unit than that.
Nice.
The luxury, the word luxury in this project really shows in the floor plans.
Yeah, and when we get into showing you the finishes, I mean, it's not just 1,587 square feet, but the finishes on this are wow.
Now, the 04 line. Now, there's different variations of the 04 line, but this one is probably my favorite. This one's coming in at 5.3 million. This is almost a 3,200 square foot, 3-bedroom plus wine cellar and plus study. This
Wine cellar and study.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
So this variation actually has like a study right here. That the other one is basically open to the wine cellar. So this could be like a nice TV, entertainment area.
It's nice. One of the things that we've noticed with a lot of clients is a lot of people who are now empty nesters, they want the spare room for family to come and stay, but one of the most important things that has become an ever apparent factor in getting a unit is having a home office. A good home office, for sure, absolutely essential. And having a home office stuck at the back of your unit in a dark corner simply doesn't cut it. This one,
This is a house in the sky, and it's extremely dramatic because it's on the corner of the building overlooking Ponce.
Okay.
And it's got a dramatic, glass, frontage so when you come in through this very formal foyer and come through, you really don't see anything until you come into the open living area, and it just exploded with light. Yeah, I mean, you have 2 bedrooms to the side here with their own private terrace, and then you have the master to the other side with its own private terrace. So you have 2 terraces in this unit.
And bear this one in mind, because 3,150 square feet of 5.4, we're going to see in the end how it stacks up against all the competition in the rest of the market, both resale and new construction. Like this unit, nice open floor plan, lots of light, lots of functionality, very dramatic, big closets. That's our second winner. And finally,
the big houses at Ponce Park are absolutely incredible. You have opportunities to basically join 2 floors.
This is wild. This one's definitely.
We're going to show them the renderings of the outside, where you see all the wood and that very high ceilings and stuff like that, and the outdoor entertaining areas. But this is unlike anything you've ever seen in Coral Gables.
Yeah, for those who are looking for condos that are very large, this is over 5,000 square feet. It's nearly 5,200 square feet of interior. There's 548 of terrace. But what I would be interested and curious to know about this is it's not only that many square feet, but the cubic volume on this is going to be significant. Now, we don't measure huge volume.
Open to below area.
Huge amount of open space, which is going to make this feel really substantial. You're not going to feel claustrophobic in this by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Not to say that the normal units aren't generous, because you've got nearly 11-foot ceilings through this building, and that, with the level of finish that you've got, is going to feel very much like a home.
This is going to feel like a 10,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
Or more.
Without the maintenance. Unit 706, this one is coming just under $9 million, $1,725 a square foot. 2-level unit with a big open living room area, nice terraces, again, really generous spaces, really designed for an end user. These are our favorite threes. Before we get into the numbers, because I know everyone's hanging on, like, just tell us, should I buy this? Like, how does it stack up against everything else? To help you put into perspective, let's take a look at these finishes. Let's go over and show everyone the kitchen. So we'll zoom around, because I think that's really key. So let's scream through these finishes, George. You're married to a designer. I'm married to a designer. We're probably two of the hardest people to please when it comes to interior design. Let's take us through. They probably should be here doing our job for us right now. All right, let's take us through.
So we have Italian stone, which I was told this is being sourced from the same quarry as the Colosseum. So that's really cool. You have millwork here. You have a Sub-Zero wine fridge. You have these open shelves with the built-in LEDs. Love that.
I found a mini fridge. Just randomly opened a door and I find it fantastic.
So mini fridge.
Love this.
All units have a variation of this, and they all have a wet bar. So
usually we walk into a lot of properties and they'll do a kitchen, but they won't do a bar. We see a lot of that. It's like, oh, you can do the bar afterwards. We want you to leave it to your imagination. That doesn't fly with us. This is nice. This really is feeling like a house right now.
Panel ready Sub-Zeros, waterfall effect with that beautiful natural stone.
Talk to me about it, George. I mean, this is like I could take one of the animals I killed in the Colosseum and I could cook it.
This is the cheaper option, because you could also have a Le Corneau. Now, that's another thing, is that this is gas stove in an apartment. That's very rare. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Gas is less typical in Miami. Everyone thinks, okay, this is kind of a normal occurrence in other places. But in Miami, getting gas is not the norm. Although, once you come from a house and you're used to cooking on gas, you really want to go and keep cooking on gas. It's
you also have a barbecue outside the terrace. That's going to be electric, I feel, but I mean, the kitchen and the cooking facilities here are...
And they've wrapped in beautiful stone. I mean, gone is the day of like just having a basic hood. You've got a proper, stone wrap.
Curvature comes standard on all the units.
Yeah. The roundness that you get with Coral Gables architecture really shines through. It's one of the things that you go to a lot of places and you'll find harder, sharper angles. I'm not saying I dislike that, but there's a certain architectural aesthetic to the curves, and you see it throughout the unit, throughout the building. It's very quintessentially Coral Gables, and I think that if your taste is that type of home, this is going to speak volumes.
It matches the outside.
This is done because we really want to shoot these videos. We really do care about educating the market, but at the same time, we don't want to make it dry and boring. And there's a lot to ultimately get excited when you're shopping for a condo or for a house, whatever you're looking for. It's important to really embrace the lifestyle and really enjoy it and understand what's important. We enjoy what we do. Coming into a space like this, I've been so sick of single itty-bitty closets. Thank God.
This is spectacular. I mean, you have an island. I mean, this is not for all the units, but for some, you're going to have an island inside the closet. This is all travertine. It's rounded edges, which matches the rounded edges of the tray ceilings. Most of the stuff is standard. I think one of the only things that's an upgrade is this velvet covering over the millwork.
I'm glad you don't do my soup making. That's not velvet.
That's not velvet.
And that's not... Wait.
No, that's suede.
But that's okay. That's okay. We'll forgive you. You're not a tailor. You're a realtor. So it's fine. Now, the finishes are really important to know about, because we were laughing about this off camera. From the trimless AC to the travertine on the floors, to the wood finishes here, to the counters, to the curvature, and the suede in the bathroom, to the suede, not the velvet. It's really beautiful. It's really completely finished, and I think that's important. So when we get into the comps, you have to understand that a lot of the buildings out there that we might be comping to may not be as extensively finished. You have to end up hiring his wife or my wife to finish off the product.
They're not cheap.
And they're not cheap. We can attest to that. The bathroom doesn't disappoint either. I mean, we have a
full floor-to-ceiling travertine slabs,
which clean all the way through. Again, there's none of this halfway up the wall kind of stuff here. Nice, feels like very thick, very dense. Durenbrock finishes. I think I pronounced that right. My German isn't great.
We get that?
But Durenbrock, Colasec, and again, everything that you typically expect. Devil's in the detail. I also like, and I want to mention, the fluted glass, the Japanese toilets, and very importantly, the doors. The doors really matter. Good doors cost. A good door is going to cost you $3,500. Cheap door, I don't know, go to Home Depot and see what doors cost, a few $100. It's important to look for like really good quality materials, and they do really nice finishes. So I know everyone's dying to know, how does this building stack up? Is it worth my dollar? So let's talk math. Let's go through, George, the other new condo construction projects that we see in Coral Gables, and then we'll go through maybe some that we see in Coconut Grove as well.
Yeah. So in comparison, you have, the blended average of this building is coming in just above $1,500 a foot.
Yes.
You have other projects in Coral Gables that are nice, but don't really compare to this level of finish and architecture and walkability location. So I think let's punch through it. So we have Alhambra Park coming in around $1,225 a foot. We have Cora coming in around $1,300 a foot. We have Cassia coming in around $1,200 a foot. We have the Village blended around $1,210. But the more recent sales in the Village are showing, above $1,500 a foot. Even one sale came in above $1,600 a foot, and that doesn't have the walkability that this one has. But totally different product. And then we have Via Veneto townhomes that's asking about $1,300 a foot. But none of these here really, they're different products. They're townhouses. Yeah, they're different.
Or they're not as walkable, or the finish isn't as, let's say, high end. We didn't review the other projects. This is our favorite one in Coral Gables. I think it's fair to say that when you look at the Village, and now 1,500 a square foot is the closest comp.
Right.
It's running neck and neck with but that product is different because that's really designed for people who want more of a townhouse villa than being on a condo.
Yeah, it does have a condo component, but this is a little different. This is kind of like similar finishes and similar level that you would find in a product in Coconut Grove, for example.
So and so if we bring it into the Coconut Grove conversation, there's a handful of about 5 or 6 condos in Coconut Grove. You have buildings like the Ziggurat, you have the Lincoln, you have, of course, the Well, and there's a few other buildings as well. There's the Arbor, which I won't go into, but most of those buildings are trading somewhere around $1,600 to $1,800 a square foot. The difference is it's a different market. Right. And look, there are products there that we really love in Coconut Grove. In the same way that we love a brand new home, sometimes super modern, we'll also appreciate one of classic architecture. One isn't better than the other, right? A classic Ferrari might not be necessarily better than something that might be a brand new LaFerrari model that comes out. They're just for different types of people. The Grove market, though, does feel a little bit different. Yeah. It's more, I don't say intense, but it's considered a bit more hip, a bit more lively.
Coral Gables, just classy and elegant. And you know what? It's very, I'm excited that a product like this has come to Coral Gables, because it's about time that Coral Gables starts to see the prices of Coconut Grove. I mean, this is the richest city. It's this is the oldest, most historic part of town that has, the lights, the sidewalks, that very different from Coconut Grove, for example. Yeah. But it's, we have the best.
If I'm going to put a pin on comparison, I say you should take Ponce Park and compare it to the Well, and look at those two, right, and decide which lifestyle suits you better. Because again, different courses for horses.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we get into the resale market, I think it's important to look that the resale product that's existed in Coral Gables is nothing like this. Yeah. We've never had anything like this. So resales in the Gables, you might pay around $1,000 a square foot. But again, this is
hard to compare it to anything.
It's a much lower grade product than what we see. Once we get into resales in Coconut Grove, our resale market in the Coconut Grove area is somewhere for good product, somewhere at this level, somewhere around $2,400 to $3,600 a square foot. Granted, you're talking about water views, so right, different animal. But this absolutely warrants your attention. If you are looking for something of a classic architecture, if you like the Coral Gables lifestyle more than the Grove lifestyle, this should definitely be something that you should look at. If you want full holistic understanding of the entire market, houses, condos, give us a call. See my information below, see George's information below. We hope that you've enjoyed this, our 58th independent condo review of new construction in Miami. Many more to come. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for another new construction video coming soon.
Thank you for joining us.